Well, I couldn't resist one last message to you, and it comes in the form of, I think, a methods demonstration that I referred to in week 12 threaded discussion. I made a reference to this fellow, John Bransford's research. He's a professor at Vanderbilt University Peabody College and has done extensive work with using technology to enhance reading development and reading comprehension. And as I walked along this morning behind my dogs, I recited a couple of poems that I have been that give me perspective on life. One's an old one by Henry Herbert Nibbs called "Where the Ponies Come to Drink." But the one that I focused on for this little demonstration lesson is Robert Frost's "Tuft of Flowers." I think it was published in 1915 in a book of poetry that I think he called "A Boy's Will." Anyway, the poem's widely available on, and recitations of it are likewise available. I've provided one as a footnote here to this lecture, but my my purpose is to connect the text of the poem, which has some obscure vocabulary, with a demonstration of some of the process of mowing as it was done by hand in 1915, and as it is still done by hand in various parts of the world, in Europe in particular, and there are small groups of very active mowers, traditional mowers in this country. Again, online at YouTube you will find demonstrations. In fact, the demonstration that goes with this little mini lecture is a YouTube video that's apparent when you log into this part of the course, this lesson this week. All right, so what I'd like you to do is view the video on scythe mowing, or some people would call it sickle mowing, because our interpretation of this poem would be very different if we viewed mowing in 21st century terms, which are clearly much different from early 20th century mowing. Okay, listen to, read the poem. I've provided that for you below, at the very bottom of this week's lecture. Okay, consider the method that is using video clips to establish context and to teach vocabulary, and I think you'll want to do something quite similar to what I've done. All right. Well, hello. Guess I need to start that again. Well, hello. I was reciting this poem to myself while working with my animal friends this morning, and I think I've recited it probably 50 times before audiences of various descriptions. It's Robert Frost's "Tuft of Flowers," and it has a message to it that I want to leave you with as we wrap up the course together this term. And I, as I said, I've recited it 100 times or 50 times, and I have great confidence in my ability to do so. But this afternoon, right over here, I have a copy on my screen just in case I mess it up. Anyway, it goes like this. Written in 1915, by the way, and I should say that there is a context-setting video that goes with this, which I'll explain in a little mini lecture. I went to turn the grass once after one who'd mowed it in the dew before the sun. The dew was gone that made his blade so keen when I came to view the level scene. I looked for him behind an aisle of trees and listened for his whetstone on the breeze. But he had gone his way, the grass all mown, and I must be as he had been, alone, as all must be, I said within my heart, whether they work together or apart. But as I said it, swift there passed me by on noiseless wing a bewildered butterfly, seeking with memories grown dim overnight some resting flower of yesterday's delight. And once I marked his flight go round and round, as where some flower lay withering on the ground. And then he flew as far as I could see, and then on tremulous wing flew back to me. I thought of questions that have no reply, and would have turned to toss the grass to dry, but he turned first and led my eye to look at a tall tuft of flowers beside a brook. A leaping tongue of bloom the side that spared, beside the reedy brook the side had bared. I left my place to know them by their name, finding them butterfly weed when I came. The mower in the dew had loved them thus, by leaving them to flourish, not for us, nor yet to draw one thought of ours to him, but in sheer morning gladness at the brim. The butterfly and I had nevertheless hit upon a message from the dawn that made me hear the wakening birds around and hear his long sigh whispering to the ground, and feel a spirit kindred to my own, so that henceforth I worked no more alone, but glad with him I worked as with his aid, and weary sought at noon with him the shade, and dreaming as it were held brotherly speech with one whose thought I had not hoped to reach. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart. It was Robert Frost's Tuft of Flowers from a little book published in 1915. Early in his life, he lived from 1874 to 1963. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope you'll take that message with you as we go forward into our next school year and into our careers. It is a reminder of who we are, what we are, how we depend on each other, and how our students depend on us. Thanks. Well, hello.